Welcome to the Tuning In podcast, where we talk alignment, intuition, and our internal guidance system. We cover woo-woo topics in an approachable and practical way. I'm your host, Dana Evans of Alignful.com. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tuning In podcast. This is episode 104. And today, sometimes I feel like I keep sharing the same things over and over again. And in many ways, I think I do, because I think that is this work. That is the journey of the path inward. We need to learn and experience the same things over and over to truly integrate them into our lives. And so I end up talking about similar topics. Sometimes when I go to name an episode, I'm like, oh, I feel like this could have been like the episode named 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago or 6 months ago. Like there's a theme, right? The theme is space. The theme is spaces, spaciousness, creating space, allowing for space, experiencing space, what comes up when you have space in your life, what happens when you don't have space, why we resist space, why we crave space, right? And like how our inner voice plays a role in all of that. And yesterday I shared on Instagram, I shared about my weekend. And one thing that has been coming through for me is I'm holding space for a lot of people, but I'm not holding space for myself. And the last 2 weekends, I've kind of had like kind of meltdowns on the weekend from the week before because I wasn't caring for my emotional, energetic needs. And yeah, there's an energy exchange there. And it is my job to care for myself so that I can hold space and coach and work with others at the deep, expansive level that I work with them. And that is part of the reason why I don't have many clients at a time, where really 4 right now feels like a good number of clients to have active at a time, because of the depth that we go, because of the emotions that we tap into and move and clear, because of the power of the conversations that we're having, right? I'm speaking to their higher selves and their inner voice and God within them, whatever terms we use. I'm speaking and working and connecting with that. And it's so much energy exchange, and it's powerful and magical. And people are crying and breaking down and shedding and releasing. And I get to be present for all of that. And I also need to care for myself within those spaces. And so what happened the last 2 weekends is I hadn't held enough space for myself during the week. And it kind of like the weekend came and I kind of paid for that with interest. And it came in my own emotional breakdown. And this past weekend in particular, I just was feeling like agitated and uneasy and frustrated. And it built and built. And on Saturday, I kind of had more of an active day. I was getting ready, just doing things right in the house. And then I watched some movies, but like nothing was really satisfying or nourishing, because I wasn't, to be clear, because I wasn't doing nourishing, satisfying things, but I was doing things. And so I went to bed early on Saturday, and I was like, I just need to reset. And Sunday, I woke up and, didn't feel great again. And I started my day, and it was just like, I just felt like I was resisting again. And this happens, right? I think we've all experienced that, like where you're resisting what you're feeling, and it's like you're annoyed and you're just mad at it and you want it to go away, and you're frustrated, but you don't know what to do. But you don't know what to do on like the intellectual level. You're like, what do I do? But you don't actually sit with the answers to that. And so finally on Sunday, I was like, okay, Dana, enough of this like complaining that you're not having space. I was like seeking. I'm like, I need someone to hold space for me. I need to book a session. I need to call someone. I need something that I'm not getting. I need to cry. That was the big thing for me on Sunday. I was like, I can't cry. I need to cry. I need to move this, but I need that to be in a space where I feel held. But it was a seeking of the external. But finally, I'm like, okay, what I truly need is to come back to myself. And how can I do that? It's a great question, right? How can I do that? For me on Sunday, it was really quite simple. And I first just like pulled over energetically and sat down and was reading this book that I'm reading, which is called You Are a Goddess, Working with the Sacred Feminine to Awaken, Heal, and Transform. And that like immediately pulled me back to myself. Like it really connected me back to something deeper within me that I was needing to connect with. And then I started prepping food. And, I go back and forth with food. Like sometimes it feels like a chore. And sometimes it feels really, really necessary and good. And this week, it really felt necessary and good. And I just felt really connected to the food. I had beets, and they're yellow beets, and they're just so gorgeous, and the spirals in them. And then I had these beautiful red pumpkin squash things that I cut up, and then they were full of seed pockets. And so John and I separated the seeds, and I like thanked each seed, and then I dried them and roasted them. And it just felt really nourishing to prepare food so I could eat well all week. And while I was doing that, I was like, okay, I want to listen to something while I'm prepping the food. And so I just kind of like swiped through my podcast, and this one showed up. I've never listened to this podcast. I don't know this woman, but it like spoke to me. The podcast is called Medicine Stories by Amber Magnolia Hill. And she writes in her description, remembering what it is to be human upon the earth. Story is medicine, magic is real, healing is open-ended and endless. And so I was like, cool, okay. So I clicked that, and the most recent episode was called We Belong to What We Long For, Reclaiming Lost Lifeways in the Age of Loneliness with Becca Piastrelli. And I was like, yes. So I clicked on that episode and I just started listening, and it sucked me in so deeply and beautifully that this Becca woman, who I don't know, she was actually talking about her book. And I ordered her book right on the spot, and I have it in front of me. It is so freaking beautiful. And it just came out today that I'm recording. November 16th was the release date. And it's called Root and Ritual, Timeless Ways to Connect to Land, Lineage, Community, and the Self. And it's just wow. It's just wow. I'm so excited to dive into this. And it says, despite our best efforts, our modern world leaves many of us feeling isolated, unworthy, and alone. We're unrooted from the land, untethered from our lineages, disconnected from our communities, and separated from our deepest sense of self. In Root and Ritual, Becca offers a pathway back to connection and wholeness through recipes, rituals, and ancestral wisdom. A rich and dynamic treasure chest of inspiration, this book is a beautiful guide for knowing who you are and that you belong here. So, all that is to say is I was feeling called to feel this more like rooted connection to something right beyond myself. And so first reading the You Are a Goddess book, then starting to work with food, and then listening to this podcast episode. Sorry, if you hear sound in the background, my cat is batting the blinds, and I'm not going to deal with her right now. So I apologize if you're hearing cat sounds in the background. Anyway, so coming back to that, then after I was really feeling rooted in the food and like I'd kind of cleaned up the house and I was just feeling more grounded, then I could hear the call of what to do next, which was take a bath. And it was like 2 p.m. So it felt really nice. I was like, oh, a bath. Yes, 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 a bath. So I went and I prepared the bath. I added some frankincense. I lit all my beeswax candles and got in with pink salts and just sat in there. And boy, I was able to cry. It was in that moment of just being fully with myself in silence. I always bring a book or even sometimes my iPad to the bath, and I never use them. It's like one of the few times where I just sit in the stillness in the dark and I don't entertain my mind at all, except occasionally maybe listening to some sort of beautiful soundtrack, or like binaural beats or something. But it's really just this time of silence and beingness. And in that, it was like a little crack of light where I could feel my emotion, and I got to cry. And it felt really lovely. It wasn't a full cry. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I definitely got the energy moving, and I was like, oh, so it was like a little reprieve. Like I let some of the emotion out that I was feeling I couldn't access. And the reason I share that is because this has come up with my clients as well. This feeling of, it goes two ways. Either it feels like your emotions are out of your control, actually in both ways. Whereas one, it's like they're pouring out of you and you're like, it's like a volcano erupting and you're like, can it please go back in? This is too much. And then the other side of that is I feel like I need to feel things and I'm not being able to access them. And I very much know the experience of both of those. And it was such a reminder to me that sometimes we end up like using all of our tools to try to get something or stop something. It's like, I got to tap, I got to meditate, I got to journal, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And sometimes either to feel something or to stop feeling, right? It doesn't matter which one. And sometimes that's really effective, right? And I love us having a toolbox and a toolkit that can serve us when it's needed. And also, sometimes all we really need is to stop, to step away, and to just sit in the spaciousness and silence of being with yourself and seeing what comes through from that place, whether it's the call to do something or it's just a nudge or words of wisdom or something that kind of breaks the pattern of whatever you're experiencing. And that's space. That's what space will do for you. It will often shine that mirror back to you. And it's where the questions can bubble up and even the answers. Like, why am I feeling this way? What am I running from? What's blocking me from accessing this? Like, do I need to access this right now? Why do I feel I need to cry? What's been going on that has kind of like blocked my channels of being able to emote right now? All of these questions can start to come through. And it's in the questioning that answers will be formed. We don't necessarily need answers, but just presenting the questions is really powerful. And so that was really helpful for me on Sunday. And I felt like it was really important to share is sometimes we get so distracted in the doing that we don't, even if it's like our tools, that we don't realize it's an avoiding as well. And that all we might truly be called to is just some more spaciousness. And, I felt like I made my way there through what happened of the day, right? Like I didn't wake up in the morning and be like, I know I need space and a bath. That's not really where my mind was at. Because, right, when you're in it, it can be very hard to know what you need. So I think of it sometimes as like a gear shifting of like moving you toward, it's like, what's the next nudge? What's the next ask? What's the next thing that you're called to that's moving you toward what you ultimately need? So for me, it was like, okay, pausing to read the book, which then made me realize, oh, like food, I want to connect with food and be present with food, which made me realize, oh, what's deeper than that? I would like to listen to something while I'm doing this by myself. It's kind of a meditative practice. And I want to listen to something that feels nourishing, not like I usually listen to like Crime Junkies podcast. Okay. But I was feeling called towards something more nourishing. And so it was like things kind of unfolded. And then after the food, I was like, oh, I feel complete with my doing today. And now a bath is what I want, which is funny because all week I was like, I should take a bath. I should take a bath. But I didn't feel, I was like, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. And then all of a sudden on Sunday, it was like, yes, a bath. So just notice like how this is constantly happening in your life. Like you're just kind of nudged around toward the next best thing, finding your way toward what you're truly needing, whether or not you consciously know that. So then yesterday, Monday, I was feeling better in some ways, but toward the end of the day, it was like I was just feeling like pulled in a bunch of different directions, and like I wasn't feeling like I could support the way that I wanted to be supporting people. So same thing, except a different way. I was like, all right, I just need to like step away. Same story. My mind was like, I need someone to hold space for me, but I don't have anyone right now. So what do? I can hold space for myself, right? This is the theme here. Like, yes, it is beautiful to have our coaches and energy workers and energy healers and intuitives and body workers. All of it is so amazing. And we have so many tools like at our fingertips that we can access that are so amazing. And sometimes the reason you can't find someone to help you at that time is because you need to help you. At least that's what I find is true for me. Is like when I'm in that place of seeking, it's actually not serving me the best to go to someone else with my stuff. When I'm feeling the most desperate for someone else to support me, that's really when I'm most being called to support myself. Yeah. In fact, one of my mentors, Micah, had told me a long time ago, this was, I actually think, when she did an astrology reading for me years ago. She's very gifted in that. And she had said, Dana, one of the tells for you is when you're feeling lonely, and this is a pattern for me, like when I'm feeling not supported and alone, I then pull away more, further not allowing myself to be supported and creating that story that I'm alone when I'm very much not alone. I have a really quite amazing magical support system. So it's like never a true story, but I kind of co-create that in my life. And she said to me, whenever you're feeling that way, that is your invitation to come back to self, to nurture yourself, to care for yourself, to hold yourself, to be there and connect with yourself. And I forget it often, but it dawned on me yesterday of I don't need someone else right now. I need me. And holding space for myself, right? Just like we saw on Sunday, it's not like I have a lot of space in my life, but having space versus like using it in a nurturing way are two very different things. And so yesterday it was kind of like a scattered of a day. And I wasn't using space for myself. So it was like 4:00 and I'm like, oh my gosh, shutting things down. And I got this nudge of like, oh, do a breath work session. And if you've done breath work before, it's like this, I mean, there's a million kinds of breath work. This one in particular, it's this specific breathing through the mouth with the belly where it's like, it's like a belly breath, a chest breath, and an exhale all through the mouth. And my mind hates this, by the way. My mind hates breath work in that sense. And maybe some of you can resonate with like not enjoying breath work. And I was like, do I need to? I could just pour a glass of wine. I could just sit down and read a book. Maybe I could watch a show. I don't know. Maybe I should just lie down. Like my mind was like, no, we don't. No, no, no. But it wasn't my mind deciding. It was like, I just knew. I'm like, no, this is what I need right now. And mind be damned, we're doing this, and we can always leave early. Leave. I mean, I'm just doing it by myself. You can always stop, but we have to start. Oh my gosh. So I'm in my office right now. It's like, 50% done, but I have a desk in here. I'm recording my podcast. So I lay down, I get a blanket, I put on my noise canceling headphones, put a pillow down, and I start. And my mind is like, we hate this. This is hard. This is not what we want. Mia comes in, sweet girl. She's such an amazing energy support. And I just start going. And I had told John doesn't like when I do breath work either, because I like make all sorts of noises, like screaming even. Like it's a really intense process for me. And I just told him, I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm fine. There's going to be noises coming from the closet. Just you put on your own noise canceling headphones. I need this. And Mia's here with me, and I'm just going, and it's like you get waves. I've got waves being hot and cold and tingles. And I just kept going and going and breathing and hearing wisdom come through and just being totally present in my body. Like that's what breath work is, right? And that's what so much of the space that we're giving ourselves, the space isn't for your mind. I mean, it is in that like it's allowing the mind to wander, to contemplate, to dream, or to turn off. But it's also space so we can come back to the body, settle back into this everything below the chin. What am I feeling? What am I needing? What am I sensing? Where am I holding? What am I desiring? What am I resisting? What's happening in there? That requires space because it can be more subtle, right? To listen for that. And so the breath work just gets me into my body, my body, my body, my body. So I think I did that maybe for 30 minutes. I'm not totally sure. The sun was setting and it was so beautiful because like I just felt this shift going on in there, and I cried and I screamed and I laughed. It's kind of a hysterical fucking mess. If you've done breathwork before. Now, granted, it's up to you. I allow myself to just totally be everywhere with it. And I know some people aren't able yet to allow themselves to like be that meltdown-y, but to me, it serves me so well. It's worth the discomfort. And then when I like finally let everything come out, I had like claw hands, which is like, what are you holding on to? Like my hands were like frozen in like a claw shape, and my mouth was like, like my inner thighs were holding. So it was like, it took a while of just being and then settling into just a more natural breath rhythm to let everything ungrip and unhook. And I opened my eyes, and the blinds were open I have a big window in my office, and Mia was just sitting there looking at me, actually, not out the window. And I was like, hi, baby, I'm okay. And there's just this sunset behind her out the window. And I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. And then I had another weird nudge. I was laying there because the whole reason, by the way, I did this is I wanted to tap into my inner voice and just talk to my inner voice a little bit. And sometimes when my mind is really grippy, it's easier to do some sort of breathing to get me into it. But I felt this weird calling to grab my phone and open my favorite app, Otter, which records your voice and transcribes it at the same time. So you get an audio track and your actual words transcribed. So I was like, okay, well, sometimes I want to remember, like, you don't always remember when you're doing inner voice work. You don't always remember what your inner voice says, right? It's like clear in the moment. It's like with clients, when we do sessions, I always take notes for them because I want them to experience their inner voice. And so, okay, right? I'm like, all right, I'll record it. Like, we'll just see what comes through. Maybe it's something I'll need to remember. So I hit record and I say, inner voice, what am I holding on to? What am I resisting? What is this holding within me? What do I need to know? And my inner voice starts speaking, and it starts speaking and going. And I'm like, man, I was like so in it. Like, I was just channeling. Like, this is, you'll hear it. You'll hear it. I'm playing this for you in a moment. And it was just this, it's my inner voice. Like, and this is what's possible for you. Like, this is what I do. I think it's valuable. I'm not sure how much I share this. In fact, last week I was in an energy session and I heard my inner voice come through and it said, use me. I was like, oh, and it meant like within my work. And so it's interesting then that this came up and my inner voice is just going. It was just pure channel. It was 11 minutes long. But at one point, I found what it said, or I didn't find, but it said, here we go. I'm going to pull it up and I'll play all of this for you. But it said, breathe it in, feel the depths of this, and know this is not just for you. We heard the mind wonder, could this be true? Yes, we are speaking to all. We are speaking to those who are listening to this right now. Please put it out. Please send this out. Please let us be heard without your mind in the way, trying to say all it wants to say, and let us be heard. Let it come through. This is for others, not just for you. Isn't that beautiful? So it's kind of interesting because in creating that space for myself, then I opened up my ability to tap into my inner voice, which actually had something to share, not just for me, but for all of you on the podcast. And I was just able to connect so much more deeply from Sunday and Monday, just making space for myself. So with that, I am going to play the audio. It's an 11-minute audio of my inner voice speaking. And this is honestly, like, this is the work I do with my clients. Every inner voice is different. Mine is really sing-songy and rhymey. Like, it just likes to speak in rhymey, sing-song things that, like, I don't know. At one point I remember, it's like sometimes your mind comes back and back. I'm like, I feel like I'm doing like slam poetry. Like, that's kind of how it felt. Like, I haven't channeled in this way in quite a while, mostly because I don't give myself space. So I write to my inner voice, but my mind often blocks it off. And I haven't had an inner voice session held for me in a few months. So I haven't been able to go this deep on my own. And so it was really fun to just allow things to flow through in such an organic way. And you'll notice like the cadence changes throughout. Like, it's not how I speak. And it's just really powerful. But also, before I say goodbye and hand you over to my inner voice, another thing that had spurred all of this is this desire to host I don't know what to call it, but a clearing of sorts for everybody to join. And I'm thinking December 12th, that is a Sunday. And I would love to host a workshop where we go inward. And I kind of think of it as like the antithesis of all the goal setting workshops that you're going to be presented with moving into 2022. I feel like we have not processed 2020 as a collective, and we certainly haven't processed 2021. I feel like it went from 2020, oh my gosh, everything's horrible, to 2021, oh my gosh, let's just get back to normal. And there was no processing, deep processing of what happened, what unfolded, what shifted within each of us, because we're all changed forever. And so I want to host this as like a shedding and clearing and a resetting from 2021 and a tapping in to your own inner voice of wisdom to hear, what do you need? What are you being called toward? What are you being led toward? What is left to shed? Where are you getting to explore deeper within? And you'll be able to answer those questions for yourself and so many more. I'm a master question asker when it comes especially to the inner voice. And so if you're interested in that workshop, I think I'll put a link just for a Google form where you can submit your email address. And I just want to hold space for you. I really do. I want us all to experience what I am able to give myself and what I'm able to give my clients. Because one thing is clear to me, and that's we cannot keep going on the way we are, just pushing through. And my inner voice touches on this in the memo that you're going to hear. It's like we're in this state of evolution and expansion, and we can't keep going on the old way of operating. I mean, you can, of course you can, but it's not serving us as a collective or as individuals. And so I think it's hard to find someone to hold space for you in this way. Like, I know those who have come to me. I have one client who, when she signed up for me, she's like, I have a therapist, I have an Eastern astrologist, I have, like a mastermind group, and I don't feel like I have the space to process what's coming through. And I just need to be able to feel and tune in and tap in and like unravel while someone's holding that space for me. And that is what I do with my clients and for my clients. And we just get guidance. It's like we have to clear the muck. We have to let it all come out in the ugliest, most uncomfortable form. It is so okay and allowed. And that's what we get to do with my clients. And I've done this in group situations before. And so I just got this call, this nudge, and then it was confirmed by invitations from people to do this, to just invite you all, like join me on December 12th, 2021. And let's release, let's shed, let's unravel a little bit in this, the safety of community. And let me guide you and hold that space for you to feel the power of this, because there's more to come. And we all, man, imagine, if you're not carrying around emotional baggage forever, like imagine how you can be slingshotted forward when you're not constantly weighed down by the weight of unprocessed emotion. And it can feel scary at first, which is why I want you to feel what it's like to truly experience this. So I invite you to join me on December 12th. I'll put a link in the show notes just to give me your email address so I can let you know. I have not put all the details together, and I'll keep talking about it on the podcast, but that's coming forward. So I felt that was important to mention, because my inner voice, you might have to replay it a couple of times, but it mentions like this shift and expansion that we as humans are going through. And I just think it's beautiful perspective to hear. So without further ado, please enjoy this message from my inner voice. And I will see you next week on the Tuning In podcast. Enjoy. Inner voice. Inner voice. What am I holding on to? What am I resisting? What is this holding within me? What do I need to know? You are love, you are light, you are held,
You're so held. You're held by the earth. You're held by the floor. You're held by us. You're held by yourself. You're held, you're held, you're held, you're held. You're held in more ways than you ever will know. You're held, you're held. Please let us show you. You are held, you are held, you are held. Your fear of not having support, of supporting others and not having support. It's not real. It's not true. It's not real. We promise you. For we are here. We are here. We are here. We are always here. We are here within you. We are here without you. We are here for you to shine through. We are here for you. We are here. We are here. We are here. You're not alone. You're not alone. You are not alone. You are not doing anything wrong. You are not doing anything wrong. You don't need to take space. You need to allow space. You don't need to take it back. You don't need to withhold from others in order to have space for self. The space is here within you. It's within. It's within. It's within. To have space, to allow for space, it is not a sin. It is perfectly aligned with everything you need, everything you desire, everything you want. It is for others and it is for you. It is allowed. You can have it all. You can have it both. You can have it this way and that way and every which way. Don't you see? The space is within you. The space is without you. The space is around you. The space is spouting out of you. You are a beacon of space, a beacon of light. This is what we feel with all of this might. All of this light is shining bright within you and out and in and out and all around. You're shining, you're bright. The space is your light. Let it be seen, let it be felt, let it be expanded all about, all around the world, all around yourself, your essence, inside, outside, inside, outside. Let the pulsation be within you. Can't you feel the pulsation within you, the vibration, the pulsation? This manifestation, everything is becoming of you, through you, to you, because of you, with you. Within you, without you doing, without you having to show, without you trying and striving and exercising, even that, don't you know? It's all within you and flowing through you, even without you doing the things that you fear not doing. This is what we're showing you. This is what you're feeling. We know you feel it within. You feel the heat. You feel the tingling. You feel the delight of what if this is true? What if they are right? What if all of this is happening? What if all of this is becoming a becoming from within, a becoming of me, of myself, of all of us? We are becoming. Oh, we are unraveling, we are unfolding, we are unlearning, we are undoing, we are unknowing, we are unbecoming. We are understanding what is beneath the doing, what is beneath the trying and striving and fighting and frighting and resisting and persisting and the go, do, more. There is something beneath, something beyond, something at the depth of your core. Breathe it in. Feel the depths of this and know this is not just for you. We heard the mind wondered, could this be true? Yes, we are speaking to all. We are speaking to those who are listening to this right now. Please put it out. Please send this out. Please let us be heard without your mind in the way, trying to say all it wants to say. Let us be heard. Let it come through. For all of those others, they get to hear it too. Let them know that this is for them and this is for you. This is for all of us because yes, it is true. This is the way. This is the next way. This is the way of the wave, of the flow, of the ups and the downs. And yes, don't you know, it is no longer the way to be steady, to be known, to be the same all of the time. We are welcoming the pulsation of life, the pulsation of love, the pulsation of the feelings up from above, and we feel them and we hear them and we're experiencing them all through the wave. The wave of the emotion, the wave of the feeling, the wave of the energy, the wave of the knowing, the wave of the inspiration, the wave of the creation, the wave of salvation. It is a new wave of life, of living, of being, and you are in it. We are all in it, but some of us are in the current, the rip tide, the resistance, the fight, and the strive, and the not trusting or knowing or willing. But that is okay. That is allowed. That is something. They don't have to be proud, but it is not something to be hidden or feared or doubted. Oh no. It is just a becoming. So some are in the current, some are in the wave, some are in the stillness, some are here to just witness all of it unfolding. Yes, there is an unraveling, and yes, that can be unnerving, but no, it is not something that is bad. It is serving you. It is serving us. It is serving everyone from within. And if only you would begin to trust, you would begin to feel and let that feeling guide the wave, so you know that this is happening. It's a parade. It's a celebration. It's an expansion. Oh, it is so much more than you can understand. The mind, you humans, you do not understand, and it is okay. It is not to be understood. No, it is to be felt. It is to be felt. It is to be heard. It is to be sensed. It is to be experienced from the essence of your being, from every single cell, from every wave of energy that is felt. This is the shift to within. This is the shift of you coming back to your soul self, your sovereign being, the truth within, the knowing that you have always had. We're uncovering it. We're dusting it off. And we're so excited for this to be seen and felt, and let the dust be pushed aside. You no longer need to hide the truth that is within, that is you, that is your essence and your truth. It is coming back. It is coming out. It is ready to be heard. It is ready to scream and shout. And we know that many of you do feel this desire to yell, to express, to be heard from the depths of within. And we say, let it out. Use your voice. Use your growl. Scream and shout. Let it come out, for this will shake and vibrate what is within. And it brings you back to the knowing, the truth of your kin, of that depth and connection to all that is within. Thank you for letting us be heard. Thank you for letting us be felt. You know, there are many feelings that need to be dealt with, and so much just needs to be shared from within. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, we hear you, we see you, we are you, we feel you. This experience is available to all of you. Listen with your heart, listen with your inner knowing, listen with that truth, that depth, that pool of wisdom deep within. Listen, listen, listen. For it is yours. It is yours. It is yours. Enjoy the here, enjoy the now. Enjoy the truth revealed. You don't need to know how or why. Allow the feeling to soar and fly. It is all allowed. It is all okay. There's nothing more we have to say. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tuning In podcast. As always, if this would resonate with anyone you know, please share the episode. You can follow along with my journey on Instagram at Dana_Evans, or find me on my website at alignful.com.